Thank you all so much for coming today to learn a little bit more about Reach Cyber Charter School. And specifically, if you have children in our kindergarten up to second grade program, a lot of the stuff that we are going to cover today, covers all of Reach, but I'm going to be including in the chat box a little bit later, some additional resources if you have students in other grades. But we do have some fantastic teachers and staff with us. I'll introduce myself first. My name is Doug Meadle. I am the manager of external outreach here at Reach Cyber. Believe it or not, I'm actually celebrating my 20th year in virtual education in the state of Pennsylvania. So I'm getting really old and getting some gray hairs, but you've definitely come to the right place because prior to working to Reach, about 3 years ago, I worked for one of the larger cyber schools. Really glad I came to Reach. It's really family oriented. We're a STEM school. We'll talk about all those awesome highlights in a little bit. But I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Liebig for her introduction.
Good afternoon. I'm Christine Liebig. This is my sixth year here teaching kindergarten at Reach Cyber Charter School, but I have been teaching for 14 years, all in kindergarten at both public and
All right, perfect. And Amanda, if you want to do your introduction, that'd be great.
Sure. Hi, I'm Amanda Batista. I'm an outreach coordinator here in the external outreach, and I also have a student who went through and started at first grade, but now he's going into fifth. So here at Reach.
Perfect. Yeah, and Amanda has the added advantage of partaking in all the socialization opportunities, which we'll talk about, but also sees it from a parent's perspective as well. And then over to wonderful Kathy, if you do your introduction.
Hi, I'm Kathy Eccleston. I'm one of the second grade teachers here at Reach. This is my sixth year teaching second grade at Reach. I started teaching in '99, so I have no clue how many years. It just feels like a lot. But it is my sixth year at Reach. I'm also a parent of a Reach student. My daughter started here in fifth grade, and she's currently going into 10th grade at Reach. So also have that parent perspective, which is great to see, and I just love it here.
I forgot to mention, Kathy, you're right. Yeah, you and your daughter have been in for the long haul, so getting close to that graduation date, which is pretty fantastic. So yeah, you're definitely in a great group of presents. What I'm going to do right now is basically pop out that chat pod for you. If it didn't pop up, there should be a little red box down below. You can click on that. That's our email address. So if after today's session you have any questions or concerns, or you're like, Mrs. Liebig was awesome, I have some more kindergarten questions, feel free to reach out to us and then we'll reach back out and make sure that you get the answers that you need. Now, also at the end of the session, if you want to use your camera and microphone, by all means, you can do so. We will allow time for that as well. Or during the presentation, if you feel like you have any questions that you want to type as we're going along into the chat pod, all of these fantastic teachers are going to be assisting with the chat pod as well. So with that, we are going to go ahead and get started. And typically we like to start off all of our meetings with our vision and our mission statement for Reach Cyber Charter School. So the vision of Reach Cyber Charter School is to inspire and nurture future success for all students. And our mission is to promote academic growth and to cultivate curiosity through STEM opportunities, personal K-12 instruction, and career exploration. I try and get it all. Like I think I looked up a little bit to get it, but I'm getting really good with that mission statement. But you're going to hear throughout this presentation the word STEM, like personal K-12 instruction, career exploration, community outreach. There's a lot that we do for our students aside from just providing them a fantastic cyber school curriculum. So I'm not going to read this. I'll let you read this while I'm talking a little bit about Reach Cyber. So we started back in 2016. Our founder and CEO, Jane Swan, wanted to create a cyber school. She came from a previous cyber school. She wanted to create a cyber school that was not just STEM focused and oriented, but dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we actually this year will be celebrating our 10th year here at Reach. So there's going to be a lot of 10-year celebrations taking place So hopefully, if you choose to enroll with us, you'll get to partake in those as well. And we'll talk about our partnerships with all of the science museums and all the STEM stuff that we do. But there's a lot of opportunities for socialization and cool things that we do all across the state for your children, even the young ones, even those kindergartners, in those second grader up to second grade, but all grade levels, we have all sorts of opportunities as well. So what are each students going to receive? Every student will get a laptop. So if you have a first grader and a fifth grader and a seventh grader, each one of them are going to receive their own laptop. You're also going to get a student technology reimbursement. Now that is per household. It's $50 per month. That can be actually sent directly to your utility company to offset that bill, or it comes in the form of a prepaid debit card. So that internet technology reimbursement, again, is to be used to offset any internet charges that you might occur. You're going to get all the course and curriculum supplements. That even includes the STEM kit. So every grade gets a STEM box upon enrollment. The STEM box has a whole bunch of stuff that can be used with the lessons for free play, creativity. We'll talk more about that a little bit later as well. So you're going to receive everything that you need. Your households will receive a printer as well. And then excuse me, we also have wonderful family mentor services. So family mentors are regionalized within your area. So kind of think of your family mentor as your go-to person, for anything non-academic. If you have anything, questions or concerns, your child's sick for the day, you have questions about any upcoming field trips, or if you need them, to schedule some meetings with your teachers, the family mentors are your first resource and asset. You're going to get all of those services as well. But let's talk about the program that we use. Technical term is a learning management system, or an LMS. The program that we use is known as Canvas. If you've ever taken a college university course, a lot of K-12 virtual courses also use Canvas. It's kind of like the go-to learning management system. I like to call it your all-in-one stop shop, but your child will power on that laptop. When they do, there's a little Reach Rocket icon. They're going to click on that, and that's going to open up Canvas, which is their learning management system, and it has everything that they're going to need in order for their child to be successful here. So you have access to all your lessons, all of your assignments. There's your email communications, has links to all the live virtual Zoom classes. Again, we'll talk about the live classes in a little bit. All those community events, the field trips. We have a program called Horizon, where you can actually see all the field trips taking place, not just in your area, but the entire state as well. All those fantastic STEM opportunities. You'll have your calendar in there. You can also include your own appointments. So basically, it's your all-in-one stop shop for everything that you need. In the beginning of the year, the family mentors will be working with the new families. There's a little orientation through Canvas that we take you through, but it definitely is a fantastic program, and it can link from everything by just the student logging on and clicking that Reach Rocket icon. Talk a little bit about our curriculum. Obviously, since we are a public cyber charter school, right? We are authorized by the Pennsylvania Department of Ed. So we adhere to the state curriculum set forth by the Pennsylvania Department of Ed. So basically, one of the things I always recommend, especially, our very proactive families, if you want to see what your child is learning for any given grade level, you can go to PDE's website, and for every single grade level, for every single subject and lesson, there's a state standard, there's an objective. We can get a little bit more into it if Chris and Kathy want to talk a little bit more specifically when we talk about, what the students are learning. But don't print it out on the PDE website, because it'll be like 800 pages for each grade level. But, rest assured, we are adhering to that curriculum, but we create and enhance those standards with all of our lessons. We make interactive and fun, engaging lessons. Every grade has a project-based learning project built into the curriculum. Usually it's cross-curricular too. And since it's STEM, like, it's going to involve math, it might involve science and, even language arts if they're writing up stuff. So there's a lot that's involved. As I said, we're definitely STEM based and we are accredited by Cognia as well. In terms of our teaching staff, I can't say enough fantastic things about our wonderful staff here. All of our teachers are state certified. We all have our teaching certificates from the Pennsylvania Department of Education. We're experts in online education, and we're also certified in our subject area. So, little history about me. I am certified in secondary social studies. You would not want me teaching pre-calculus to any child, let alone anyone. So, we're all certified in our subject areas, and we're experts in online education. We always go through ongoing professional development as well. So just to let you know, school starts for our students Tuesday, September 2nd. Believe it or not, our teachers are back well before that. They might not be as happy about that, but they're coming back mid-August. We all meet up, we kind of start talking about the new school year, getting lessons ready and, professional development. So school starts for our students Tuesday, September 2nd, but rest assured, we have the best teaching staff and a low student to teacher ratio. So I'm going to throw it over to Mrs. Liebig right now, kind of talk specifically about some of the cool things that they do in kindergarten.
Thanks, Doug. So in kindergarten, we have a ton of fun. And you're going to probably think, well, what do they do in kindergarten virtually? Well, we do a lot of singing. We do a lot of interaction with brain breaks and standing and engaging. We have fun things with Nearpod, which is a thing that we use that the kids have an interactive tool that we can see what they're doing online. It's really fun. So there's just a lot of really great things that we do here. To get our morning started, we always have our morning meetings. That's kind of like our calendar, saying good morning to each other. I know in my classroom, we do a daily affirmation where we just go over how smart we are, how kind we are, and things like that. And the kids love it. If I forget it, they let me know. They love saying that every day. It doesn't matter that we do it every single day. If I forget, they let me know. So we do that, and then we go right into our day, which we'll talk about what that looks like a little bit later on. We do have monthly assemblies for kindergarten students. It's usually on a Friday, so it usually happens right after our U-Fly, which again, we'll go over and explain what U-Fly is. And what we do, like every month we have a different theme. So I know like right before we left, your student will get a kit, a career path kit. In kindergarten, they get one about being a veterinarian. So we talk about how to be kind to pets. That's one of our assemblies. Um, we do Earth Day, obviously. We actually have one on coding, which the kids love. They get involved in that. And then they actually have a little time where they can code. Yes, kindergarten, they're doing coding and they love it. They're smarter than we are. So those are the monthly assemblies, and it's just a really great way for the kids to kind of see each other. We have, I believe there's 11 kindergarten teachers, and so it's just a fun way for the kids to see kiddos in other classes as well, and we get to interact with everybody. Our reading incentive program that changes every year. This past year, we did it in coordination with our U-Fly and with Sora. Our principals and assistant principals did this really fun thing with a pirate, and the kiddos were so excited about that to see where the forgetful pirate was. We had mystery readers that the students had to guess. They even got to vote on certain things like what the assistant principal's pirate name would be, what kind of pet they would have. Our kids voted for the assistant principal in kindergarten this year. She had to kiss a goat as one of the ways that she interacted with our pirate. So that was a lot of fun, and it got the kids reading, and they loved it. And UFly is such a great program to kind of jumpstart them into reading for kindergarten, and we do it all the way up through into second grade. So we'll talk a little bit about that later. And then we do have a virtual library. It's called Sora, that your kids will get a code to that they can go in and check out books. There's a ton of different options for them, all appropriately grade leveled and at their reading level. So if you have a student that is already coming into kindergarten reading, there are plenty of books there and options for them too as well. So it just kind of gives them an opportunity to have a little library time as well. You'll see that in kindergarten, we do what is called the PAKEI, which is the Kindergarten Entrance Inventory. So at the beginning of the year, you're going to get bombarded with a ton of emails from us, and this is one of the emails. And we ask that you be very honest with where your kiddo is at this time. It'll ask you, for example, are they able to write their name? Do they recognize their name? What letters do they know? Do they know just uppercase letters? Do they know some lowercase letters? Do they know both? It also asks if they know any sounds. And again, just be completely honest. It's okay if your kindergartner is coming in and they're not sure of those things. We completely understand that. It just kind of helps give us a baseline to help us kickstart our lessons off for the students. And then at the end of the year, we do have a virtual kindergarten graduation ceremony. The kids love it. It's within their classrooms. It's super cute. They come in with their little tassels and hats, and they come in and we play the graduation march, and we read their names. We go back through and talk about all of our memories. Mrs. Swan comes in and she talks and she has a video for them. The assistant principal comes in and then we read their name and they're just so proud. And it's just so much fun. So it's just a great way for them to see how far they've come. We have kids that, come in and they can't read, they can't write. And then by the end of the year, they're reading and writing. And we show some works from the beginning of the year and they're like, oh, I can't believe that I was only scribbling and now look at what I can do. So it's just a really great way to send them off and get them excited for first grade. So lots of fun things that we do in kindergarten every single day. The teachers have high energy, as you can tell, and we're super excited and we hope that you choose Reach.
Thank you so much, Christine. And yeah, I actually got to take in the U Fly where I got to dress up as a pirate and pie the assistant principal in the face. So that was fun. Yeah. So we as teachers and educators get to have a lot of fun as well, and honestly, I we did, a little segment where we were meeting with some of the kindergarten teachers and like just watching them sing the days of the week. And it's just the cutest thing. So, I think, Christine, you did a fantastic job, describing, all the awesome things that we do in kindergarten. So thank you for that. I'm going to throw it over to Kathy now. Kathy is one of our second grade teachers, but can kind of summarize both first and second grade and kind of talk about what we do in those grades as well. So thanks.
All right. So first and second grade are kind of a continuation of kindergarten. Again, the teachers are really high energy. We do a ton of brain breaks and singing and dancing and things to get them excited. We start our day with morning meeting as well. I know in second grade, our morning meeting gets a little bit more SEL, social emotional learning, implemented into it. And we do like a how are you feeling for the day? We read stories to help them learn about their feelings and how to express their feelings and things like that. We do use the UFly program, like Ms. Liebig said, which is amazing. It's really showing a lot of growth with the kids. So we kind of go from morning meeting to UFly so that, they're in there, they're excited, and they're able to show their skills right away. We have math and ELA Monday through Thursday, and then social studies and science on Friday as our live lessons. But then throughout the week, they have all of those asynchronously as well. We put in a lot of fun things, and we try to make it very personalized. So like I know in my class, I had a kid who like loved Minecraft. So like when we do our UFly assessment on Fridays, I made like a Minecraft UFly and they'd have to like write their things in and color pictures of the Minecraft characters once they wrote their words and all. So we try to like personalize it as much as possible and make it as fun as possible. We send out weekly newsletters so that you know what you need to complete each day and different things that they have to do to stay on track with their classes. Lots and lots of fun in our classes and a lot of community building. And I feel like when I was looking for cyber schools for my daughter, that was the thing I didn't know. Like, how do you build a community and how do these kids get to know each other? It is amazing seeing them talk, or like sometimes I'll just say, okay, guys, 5 minutes free sharing. And like they will just take turns sharing and asking each other questions. And they get to know each other so well. So I love how much community building we do, even though they don't see each other in person, they see each other every day and they know each other so well. They're always like asking in the chat, "Will you be my friend? You're my best friend." It's so great to see because they really do get that community that you don't always think of with, you know, virtual school. So again, classes are so much fun with the kids. They get so excited. And also, one thing that I like to mention is it's kind of cool. Like if your kid goes to school all day, you really don't know what they're doing. But if you're at our school, you're normally the parents are like in the room or right nearby. And I can remember when we were doing regrouping in math, I was teaching the kids like bigger bottom borrow as like a little reminder, like the three B's. If it's a bigger bottom, remember to borrow. And I was meeting with a kid one on one, and his dad was like off screen. And he started doing his math, and I heard his dad yell across the room, "Don't forget, bigger bottom borrow." And I was like, oh, the parents are learning too. Like, it's just great. Like, because we work together so closely with the parents, we're using the same terminology. We're explaining it the same way because the parents hear me explain it in live lesson and then they can help their students, which is just such a great thing to see. Like, I always love mentioning that just because it was so funny. Like, I laughed when he said it, but it was great because the parents know how we're teaching. So you're able to help your students really well with, the assignments or the workbook pages and things. So I just always like to point that out about building the community. It's not just the community of the kids, but it's also the parents and the teachers. We get to talk so much, and you really get to know me and I get to know you as your teacher, and you're one of the kids' parents. So I love that as well. Again, we do have the small group instructions. Our class sizes were pretty, small last year compared to public school. I think in second grade, most of us were between 15 and 20 kids in a class. And then we would also have small group enrichment or remediation in the afternoon where you might be in a class with just 4 or 5 students, getting that really personalized instruction, plus our one-on-ones where we meet with the students one-on-one and we get to see how they're doing, see if they need help with anything. So there's a lot of really great and ways that you can get to know what your child's doing and how to help them, and also that you can build that community. So I just love that about our school.
Perfect. So thank you. And I think that's where we'll segue in to kind of talk about the live virtual classes. And just, this is a sample of all the live virtual session opportunities that your children can partake in. So which one did I say? Chris, you're hopping in on this one. Yeah, thank you.
So here's just a sample. This is what we used last year. Sometimes they change from year to year a little bit, but this is primarily what we've been using. And as you can see, they have their encore and their STEM classes from 8:15 to 8:45. Encore is your music and your art classes, your gym. That's usually when those are. You can see there's a couple of different times for those. Um, and then we have our morning meeting. It's only 20 minutes, but you'd be surprised in what we can get done in 20 minutes. I know that in kindergarten, we usually do like a big brain break where they have like a fun activity where they can run and things like that. So we do that. And then we go right into UFly. And UFly is our, I guess for lack of a better word, is for our phonics, our reading program that we use. It stands for the University of Florida Learning Initiative. And so we do that for a half an hour with the kids, and it goes really fast. And as the year goes on, they sort of know. They know that they're going to see their letters. They know that they're going to say A says ah and A. And so they know that when certain things come up by the end of the year, they know what to do and how to do it. So that's one of the great things about it as well, is because it just flows and the kiddos get used to that. And then we'll take another, we usually take about a 10-minute break. I know in kindergarten, we have the timer set for 10 minutes on our screen. So it has like a little countdown. Some kids will actually like turn their Zoom rooms off. Like they'll get out of the Zoom. They'll go, use the restroom, get a drink, get a snack, whatever they need to do. Some kids will stay in the room. They just turn their cameras off and they go and do whatever they can. And then they know that after that 10-minute break, it'll beep and they'll come right back. We usually play an introduction song to get into math. And they know to come back and get started. And then math is for a half an hour. And when we say half an hour, in between those, we are doing the brain breaks. We are doing activities that get the kiddos writing, showing us what they can do, what they know, and things like that, whether it be just on their whiteboards that they'll receive or, in a Nearpod. So we will do that. And then again, we'll have another like transition to get them ready for our ELA, which is our English Language Arts program. It sounds like they're, in there for a long time in the morning, but I promise you it goes by super fast. And with all of the breaks and things, the kiddos get used to it and they enjoy it and they love it. And, the younger kids, they do so much better in the morning. They're a little bit more awake and fresh. And they're tired in the afternoon. So having that morning schedule seems to be working out really well. And then again, they'll have the opportunity to either do another encore or their STEM class, whichever one they didn't do in the morning. And then they have lunch. Now, if your student is receiving special ed, this is when they'll meet with them at 12:30 to 1:30. If they are not, it's just a time for you to, again, you can take a longer lunch or you can start working on your lessons throughout that day. And I do want to mention too that our lessons that we do coordinate with what you're going to be doing in Canvas. So if you are coming to the live lessons, which we highly encourage in the morning, we don't expect you to flip through every single lesson because we've already taught that. So you can go through and already mark that that lesson is complete if you've attended the live lesson, or we do record them. I know that we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. And then you just would do whatever assignment is due for that day. We're not expecting that your child sits through these live lessons and then sits through, a couple hours of lessons online. So if you're coming to the live lessons, that's really great. They're going to get a ton of information and they're going to learn how to do that lesson that they're doing that day anyway in Canvas. And then you can just click through, say that that's done. It's really easy to click that check mark. You do the assignment, turn it in, and you're done. Going back to our schedule here, from 1:30 to 1:50, you can see is enrichment. These are our small groups. This is the time where we get to meet with them in a little bit of a smaller environment. In kindergarten, this past year, we had about 20 kids, 20, 25 kiddos, which seems like a lot, but it's really not because we do breakout rooms and the kids love that. They get to go in there and talk and the teachers can go into different breakout rooms and make sure that they're on task and things like that. And so when we talk about enrichment and small groups, this is where we kind of put them all together. So if your student's like struggling a little bit with numbers, T numbers are an example of what's really hard for the kindergartners because they all sound alike. We'll put them with kiddos that are having those same sort of struggles. And so we go and we do like 15, 20 minutes at their own pace. It's just a way to kind of get extra practice in. Now, if your student, you'll see it has enrichment. If your student is doing really, really well, this is the time where they can come and we're going to give them some challenging things. So I know like at the, in the middle towards the end of the year, in math, we have what we call these math mysteries that we play. And so every week is a different clue. Sometimes, they'll be getting into like two I can't even talk. I'm sorry. My brain is on like summer break. 2-digit addition or subtraction, things that'll just kind of like give them a little bit of, a challenge that they're going to be working on. We'll also be counting, we'll be doing place value. In kindergarten, we usually do just like the ones, tens, and hundreds. But if they're in an enrichment class where they already know all that, we go into the bigger, the thousands, 10,000s, etc. Yes, they love being detectives. And we do that. I know I talk a lot about math. That's because I was in charge of math this year. But we do that stuff for ELA as well. So we do have different groups. I know I created one for our ELA where, and it went with the pirate theme. And they had to save a princess. And so that was kind of with the girls, and the boys were like, yeah, I'm a princess, but they got to be the pirate and help them. And so they get to, decode words by like, okay, what does this word start with? What sound? And then they would write that letter. And then we go to the middle sound, which is usually the hardest for them with the vowels, and then the ending sound. So we do a lot of fun games in that. But again, the small groups are just a really great way to kind of get a little bit more individualized, um, one-on-one instruction for where they are. Then again, they can take a break. And just because there's two different times listed there, that doesn't mean that your student's going to come. Your student will come at one or um, the other time there. Then they get a break. Then every month you will meet one-on-one with your teacher. So this is a great time. That's something that we'll explain to you how to do. Like you'll set up a calendar with us and we'll schedule some time with you. We kind of go over and see what they're doing. If you have questions or concerns, if we have any questions or concerns. So we do meet with our students at least one time a month. I do have students sometimes that need to meet every week, and that's okay too. It just kind of depends. Um, and then again, that 3 to 3:30 time, that's if your student needs some extra help. It's also a great time to schedule a one-on-one. That's usually one-on-one in kindergarten. And then we do work from 8 to 4. So another time to schedule would be 3:30 to 4. So that's kind of our day. Fridays look a little bit different. They're a little bit less. That's usually when we have social studies and science. So, and you can complete your lessons in Canvas. It seems like it's really busy, but again, if you're coming to those live lessons, your day is going to fly by because again, we don't expect you to be sitting in live lessons with your student and then going back through. I mean, you can, of course, if your student needs to have that, reiteration of things, but it sounds like a lot, but I promise you your day is going to go by really fast.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Christine. And yeah, actually, well, that's going to segue over to kind of Kathy, just kind of talking about the importance of those live virtual sessions. But Mrs. Liebig said, they're also recorded too. So you don't have to, if you're out at one of those field trips, you can go ahead, and just go back and watch one of those recordings. But Kathy, if you have anything else you want to add, that'd be great.
No, I mean, just the live lessons are so important, especially in the younger grades, because it really gives the students that chance to hear us explaining it. Our learning management system in Canvas, the program and the courses are great. They break everything down. They've got little videos, but it just doesn't always compare to a teacher actually showing you and walking you through it. So if you can get to those live lessons, it's really, really encouraged. And we definitely do see the students who regularly attend live lessons do better in school. So, it's just, we really, really want them there, but it is optional. If there's a reason you can't attend for any reason, child's not feeling well, or you're at one of those field trips, or, you're taking a family day to do something, that's okay. We always we post the recordings so that you can watch the recordings with your child, and we do make sure that our live lessons coincide, I guess, or go along with whatever the Canvas lesson of the day is. So if you choose to just do the asynchronous lesson in Canvas, you are getting the same material and the same concept as what we're teaching in live lesson. So, you can kind of pick and choose. I always really, really encourage my parents, like if they can devote even just that 9 to 11 slot, because we cover so much in that 9 to 11 slot. We do our morning meeting with all our social emotional learning and the kids getting to talk to each other and and build that community. We do U-Fly, which is helping them so much with their reading skills. And then we cover the basic math lesson and the ELA lesson. If you can get there for those basics and then kind of figure out the rest of the day with what works best for you. Sorry, STEM teachers and electives, because I kind of didn't stress you as much. But I feel like, especially for K-2, that like reading and math are like the bulk of what they need right now, because it's the foundation for them going on for the rest of their school career. They need the number skills that they're learning in first grade and kindergarten to start doing the 3-digit addition in second grade, to go into multiplication in third grade, until finally algebra in high school. Like they need that foundation. So I really, really encourage my parents, if you could give me just that 9 to 11 slot and let me work with your kids as much as possible there, and then the rest of the day kind of pick and choose what works for you. That's like one of my biggest recommendations for the little ones, because they really do get a lot from hearing us explain it and also seeing their peers work through it. I know Miss Liebig had mentioned Nearpod, and one of the things about Nearpod that's awesome is each student is working on their screen, but the teacher screen can show all of the students and we can share each other's work. So lots of times, like we'll say, okay, so and so, would you like to share? And I'll click that share button and it'll pop up on everybody's computer so they can see how their friend solved it. And that's so important, like that they get to see different people and they get to see their friends doing it, not just the teacher or mom and dad doing it. So again, like I said, that 9 to 11 slot in K-2 is extremely important. And we really, really love seeing them in live lesson. But if you can't, don't ever stress about it. We won't get mad. Our recordings are there for you. Yeah,
Perfect.
I see. They love explaining and playing teacher. They absolutely do. They love sharing how they did it with each other.
Yeah, and honestly, yeah, I have seen the younger kids, and they're just so adorable, to be honest. That they're just so cute. But I'll throw in here, all about all the other STEM stuff, since I know Kathy was heavy on the math and ELA. But I know, obviously, I do say this throughout, the presentation. STEM is built into our DNA here at Rage. I mean, like that's in our mission statement to promote academic growth and cultivate curiosity through STEM opportunities. So every grade level gets a STEM kit upon enrollment. Um, we have summer STEM camps, so literally taking place right now this summer. I actually was at the Da Vinci Science Center yesterday for one of our STEM activities that we were doing. It was like a little CSI activity, and they have the young students and the older students there. So we do summer programming as well, just to let you know. So there's like 3D printing, CSI, Lego robotics, drones, just to name a few. We do weekly STEM clubs. We actually have a mobile STEM classroom bus that travels all around the state. They do a lot of fun stuff and opportunities as well. And I would be, remiss if I forgot to talk about the partnerships that we have with all of the science centers across the state. So I said from the Philadelphia area, Kathy is as well. So there's the Franklin Institute, is big, obviously in Philly. But like I said, I was just out in Allentown for the Da Vinci Science Center. In Pittsburgh, we have the Carnegie Science Center, Harrisburg's the Whitaker Center. There's the Reading Science Center, the Keystone Kids Space. I could probably go for minutes, talking about all the partnerships that we have with all of these science centers across the state. So we are frequently there throughout the year. We'll actually be there at the beginning of our back to school parties. We'll be at these locations. So again, I said school starts Tuesday, September 2nd. Probably about the midweek, the mid-September is when we start having our back to school bashes. If you're able to get to them, it's really a great time to kind of meet all the families in your area. The teachers are there. We're doing all sorts of STEM activities. So there's a lot that we do for our students at those locations. And again, we're there frequently throughout the year. We were also there for Pi Day, right? March 14th, just to name a few. We kind of went over the schedule in detail, so I don't have to go too much into this. Encore, I like to just call them like the fancy terms for like electives, but your art, your phys ed, your music, your Spanish, the clubs and stamps, and STEM camps, excuse me, I can't talk. We have over 20 clubs for students to kind of partake in. For kindergarten is the chorus club is phenomenal. Like I love because I get to witness the student graduation. So again, if your child enrolls in kindergarten, goes to 12th grade, they actually have their ceremony at the Bryce Jordan Center at Penn State. So it's really cool. You get to see your students with the cap and gown. But one of my favorite parts is actually the Star Spangled Banner in the very beginning, because they have the chorus group, and there's the little ones all the way up, and they sing it, and it just always gives me goosebumps because it's so in key, and it's just, it's amazing how they can actually do that virtually. So I'm kind of blown away with that. But again, for as Mrs. Liebig and Mrs. Eccleston had talked about, yeah, there is coding for elementary students, right? Coding for early elementary. That's kind of hard to believe, that these kids are actually picking that stuff up, but all great stuff. There's fairy tale fabrication, science behind art, early elementary education, so there's a lot of things we do for our students aside from our traditional curriculum. Uh, Mrs. Liebig also kind of talked about the career exploration kits, right? Like that's another thing in our mission statement is getting students ready for life after graduation. In the younger grades, it's all about career exploration. So we have those career exploration kits. I actually have one because I had to mess around with it. But this one is like an electrical engineer's guide, and it's pretty cool. Actually, I think I might want to play with it a little bit later because I got to open it and I'm like, these kids are getting all this awesome stuff. So yeah, for the younger kids, they give them career exploration kits, but they also had field trips to like local EMS, veterinary offices, so there's a lot of opportunities for even the younger students to kind of see what it's like, to kind of do these different jobs. And then once you hit high school, yeah, we really take it up a notch. We have career readiness managers. I know we're talking young ones, but we can do internships, job shadowing. The sky's the limit for all the cool stuff we do to get our students ready for life after graduation. You also heard us talk a little bit about special education. Hands down, we have one of the best special education teams in the entire United States, not just Pennsylvania. I believe we're at about 28 to 30% of our entire student population requires some sort of special education services. So that's either an IEP, a 504, gifted IEPs. But if your child, has an IEP or they need special education services like occupational therapy, speech, all that. We have a fantastic special education department team that can work with those evaluations, rewriting those evals for an online setting, all that stuff. So if you do have any questions, I would be more than happy to obviously redirect you to our special education team as well. The community outreach, I know we went a little bit over, but I'm wrapping it up, I promise. Last year, we scheduled over 750 community events. I like to call them field trips, but literally it's more than just field trips. They are STEM events. They are those job, visit events. And Amanda has done a ton of these throughout the years. You could probably mention a few if you wanted to, but we even have a prom for our students held regionally at like 4 locations. We're at those science centers as well, so there's a lot of opportunities for your students to partake in these field trips. Like I said, it's a program called Horizon within Canvas. It's just basically a calendar, kind of shows you where all the awesome field trips are. And you're not just restricted to your area as well. So like I said, I'm from Philly, but if they're doing like a Kennywood trip and I have an aunt and uncle out there and we want to go out there, as long as I can sign up for that and I'm registered for that field trip, I'm able to do that as well. All right, so all that fun stuff is over. I'm going to provide some additional information in a few seconds as to where you can get some more info. If you are ready to enroll with us, like I said, school starts Tuesday, September 2nd. Go out there, do your homework, check out the other schools, email us if you have any other questions. We have a general virtual session as well. I'll put that link in just a second. This is our elementary school. I'll put this in here if you have any any additional things you can find on our elementary school. But basically, you'll see this enroll now button right on all of it. You'll click that. You're going to enter some information, but there are some enrollment documents that you need to successfully enroll here. So what are they? First is a proof of residency. You obviously have to be a Pennsylvania resident to partake in this program. There are enrollment counselors that'll work with you through this entire process. So, if there's something's illegible or you have questions, they'll work with you. They're great. So proof proof of residency would be like a mortgage statement, lease agreement, utility bill, proof of age for your child. There's also the charter school notification form that's digitally signed, and we send that to your school district to let them know that you're officially enrolled with us. Sometimes we get asked the question, do I have to notify my school district? No, you do not. Actually, as part of that charter school notification form, we would notify your school district for you. Any immunization history, if we have a home language survey, so if your child speaks anything other than English, we have interpreters. We also have English as a second language. And then if applicable, any custody documentation, or if your child does have special education services, the one thing I do ask is try and include the most current IEP if you have it. That kind of helps assess where they were at and how we can kind of get the ball rolling. But again, if you're for the younger ones, obviously if you think, your child might be struggling, we can also have that conversation with our special education department as well. So you're going to submit those documents. Typically, the enrollment process takes about a week, but here's my plea to you. I've been doing this 20 years, right? No matter what you do, please try and start the enrollment process by like August 1st. And the reason being, our new families get the first shipment of materials for all new enrollees goes out like August 15th. So you want to just make sure that you have all of your stuff. I would start the enrollment process by August 1st. You can enroll all year long. We don't have a wait list. There's no lottery. You can enroll at any point, but just to let you know, like the last couple weeks of August is like the mad dash of enrollments. That's where all the parents are like, oh man, I completely forgot I got to enroll and reach, and we can get upwards of 100 applications per day at the end of August. So to avoid any headaches, I just recommend you try and start it by August 1st. But again, we have enrollment all year long. If you do have any follow-up questions, I'm also going to put in the chat pod my work address. This one's just me. I know the outreach at reachcyber.org goes to 3 other colleagues, but if you have any questions that's like, hey, Doug, I want to follow up, absolutely, you can do so. And then one more thing I'm going to share with you over here. Sorry, always sliding around there. This link I'm going to put in the chat pod. Again, thank you for attending today's K-2 session, but we do have very similar sessions for our middle school and our high school where we get wonderful teachers like Mrs. Liebig and Mrs. Eccleston and to kind of talk specifically, but we also have a general session and then there's an on-demand session as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stop sharing now. I'm going to stop the recording, and we're going to open it up to any questions that you might have.